Hey there, I'm Skylar, and welcome back to our hardcore series. In the last episode, we built this wonderful tower here behind me for our skeleton farm. And today, here on episode 4, we have some more farms in the works for today. These cows and sheep deserve a better home, and I think it's time to give them one. Now, in the last episode, I did say that I was going to do a little bit of resource collecting to make the next episode easier. And we've collected a good amount of spruce wood, some dark oak. I even went all the way to the mangrove swamp to fill up on mud because I know I'm going to want to use lots of that. And I did also go mining. We were very low on coal for torches, and I went ahead and got a lot of iron because we had 2 blocks and nothing else. But my only problem now is that we are going to need more fuel to cook up all of this iron that we have. So this episode today, we are going to be working on a big barn for our animals. But first, we need to take a little side trip of an adventure. I've been mining a good bit. I think I might have mined for maybe an hour and a half off camera just to get some iron and some coal and some more copper. I also needed a good bit of granite, but if we jump down here, I need a little bit more materials to finish this up, but I wanted to show you that our mining area has been changed a little bit. I have a staircase on this side that goes up to gold level for strip mining, and I also have this one that goes all the way up to 16 for iron and copper. We don't really have a gold farm or an iron farm at the moment, so I figured that having easy access to it in our mine would be the easiest thing to do. It didn't take me too long, and it was a little bit boring. It was just breaking blocks, so I didn't really want to include that in the video, but I figured I'd show you that it's done, and we will be decorating that very soon. Now that we do have that iron that I showed you a little bit earlier, I am actually going to go out into the wild, and we're going to run around the map and hope that we can spot an exposed dripstone cave. I still haven't found one, and I would really like to get our lava farm set up on the inside of our mining outpost, so that's going to be the very first thing that we do today. I'm not sure what direction I could go in. I think I'm going to check this that's across the water from us, and then we'll just start running around and hope that we can find one. I don't think I found one yet. So it might take us a little bit of time, but I'm sure there's plenty of world out there for us to explore. So let's get to it. Before we fully commit to that, I'm actually going to breed up these cows and then kill all of the adults for some more food. This setup is definitely not ideal for the amount of food and resources that we need. So I'm really excited to get started on that barn today. Oh no, I just killed the child. That should take care of our food problem just for a little while. I'm gonna quickly stuff all of these things away, and I am gonna bring my bed with me just in case we need to sleep while we're running around if it gets a little scary. Now let's go find the stripstone cave. Unfortunately, this big cave right next to our base does not have any dripstone in it. I really wish that it did, but that's okay. We can go a little bit further for the things that we need. And I'm really liking seeing the tower in the distance. I'm really happy with this build from last episode. We do need to add more things to it. Of course, we need a pathway leading up to it, and I wanted to add a staircase and maybe a couple of floors. I didn't want to include too much decorating and bloat to the last episode because it was already really long. I think I had like 20 hours of footage. Oh, and I forgot about these wonderful chickens. We'll have to get some exotic eggs. I don't know if they're exotic. They're different. We're gonna have to get some different eggs. I don't know what they're called, but we need to collect all of the chickens too. And of course it's raining. I've been recording for 10 minutes and it's finally starting to rain again. So that's always nice. Well, looks like we found a little ruined portal, and We didn't really get much that was good. I'm gonna go ahead and just clear out the chest anyways so that we know that we've been here. And I might throw those on the ground to despawn, but I will take this gold block, these pieces of crying obsidian, and I haven't even picked up crying obsidian before. So there's another easy achievement in the bag. That's nice to have. I don't remember if I've ever collected any sweet berries either, so I'm going to take these. Oh, we have a black dog. Hello. Oh, this doggy's so cute. Hi. I totally forgot to bring any bones for some pets, but we need to get some dogs too here soon. And I would like to have a good few cats as well. Our home is very empty at the moment. And it looks like we might have to travel for a while because this is just a lush cave. Again, I keep seeing azalea trees and I would really like to just find some dripstone or a big oak thing cave somewhere. I think we're gonna grab some wood really quick. I don't think I brought any with me, and we're gonna make a boat because I've run out of land and there's definitely no dripstone cave here. I do see an insane amount of copper here though. I'm not seeing any giant caves, so I'm not too sure how long this will take us. Hopefully not forever. I don't see any dripstone in here either. Oh, I see some dripstone. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. Is that all of it? No. Oh, okay, it didn't break. Oh my gosh, this dripstone cave is underwater. Okay, let's grab as much of this as we possibly can. And it looks like we actually found a dripstone cave in here that's not under the water. And that is Creeper. Hello. Goodbye. And I think a stack of dripstone blocks and 1.5 stacks of pointed dripstone should be more than enough. I am going to go ahead and save these coordinates so that we can come back if we need anything else dripstone related. But I think for now, we're good. I would like to take all of the copper, but I definitely don't have any inventory space for that, so we'll just have to come back. Oh my goodness, these doggies are so cute with their dark noses and feet. We definitely need to get some dogs, like, as soon as possible. Now that we've made it all the way back home, we can finally set up this little lava farm. And hopefully this setup will take care of us for a good while. I think in here we can put all of our lava buckets and extra buckets. And I want to put a chest on the other side here, and we can just temporarily store our dripstone in here. And I will put this crying obsidian in the chest with the single pieces of obsidian that we own. And these are already filling up in about 3 seconds, so this is going to be perfect. And in this little section, just temporarily, I want to add some chests for our unsmelted ores. So we can put down some iron, copper, and gold in here for when we are wanting to smelt it later. I do quickly want to check the ocean that's next to our base and hope that we can find some sea pickles. Because I would love to have some sea pickles before we start decorating the rest of our house today. I definitely wasn't able to find one over here. I think this is just like a lot more land and deep ocean. It turns to cold ocean also, so I think our best bet is to come back over here. Hopefully there is an ocean on the other side of the mangrove swamp since we haven't explored all of it, and there should be coral. I'm gonna grab up a bunch of these lily pads too because these would be nice to decorate the water around our base. So at the very least, we won't go home with nothing, and hopefully we can find some ocean on the other side of this biome. But another reason for coming back over here is there is lukewarm ocean like right over here. So I'm thinking if we keep going this way, this river and mangrove swamp could turn into a warm ocean in this direction. We just have to hope for the best, honestly, at this point. Exploring around in a boat also takes forever, I feel like, so I don't want to spend too long looking for sea pickles. I kind of just want to grab them and go home if we can. This also will give us a good excuse to collect some of these blue orchards. I'm not seeing any ocean, but I do see more swamp on the other side of this first mangrove swamp and more warm biomes, so hopefully we're going in the right direction. And it looks like this mangrove swamp is just one giant swamp. Oh my goodness. Some of the terrain in this world is pretty crazy. I was hoping that I could follow this river over to an ocean, but on my minimap here, it looks like there is a desert and a lukewarm ocean. And is that... that is our warm ocean over here. I'm gonna grab some of these cactus and cactus flowers also. I don't think we have any cactus yet. I don't remember that. Oh, I see a camel in the distance, and I see one of those death trap desert temples also. Whoa, more crazy terrain. Okay, we're getting a little bit distracted. I don't think I want to explore that desert temple right now. I really want to get these sea pickles and some coral. I thought a warm ocean always had coral. Oh, yep, it does. Okay, we do have some coral here. Maybe they don't always have coral, but at least they have nice sea pickles. And I'm just going to take all of these fans. I definitely don't have a lot of room for all of the different kinds of coral, but we did get a good bit. I am really happy that we got our sea pickles, so we can head all the way back home. And we are finally safely back at home, so let's find a new home for all of these blocks that we found. I think we can put this coral all in this chest for now. And I'm gonna put that sea lantern in there too. And we can just put the rest in the flower chest. And these pickles are getting placed everywhere that there is space for them. Now that we've taken care of that, let's get into some quick decorating. I need to start getting to work on putting some permanent places for beds around. So I'm thinking something like this might be a good use of this space over here. A little decorative, not entirely functional, but also still functional at the same time. Now we do have a few things going for us downstairs, so I wanted to work on putting some things upstairs as well. I'm thinking this wall here we can turn into a nice bookshelf with a little window seat with mismatched bookshelves and chiseled bookshelves on both sides. And I don't want this to get too cramped, so I'm going to move this back just a little bit. And I almost didn't notice that I didn't decorate this little thing either, so let's go ahead and fix that really quickly. And I'm going to clean off these sides a little bit, and I think add some flower pots with little cherry leaves in the corner. And I think I want to put a ladder here, and then we can use oak fences up here to look like it is a sliding ladder. And I think instead of an actual ladder, we can put a fake ladder. Maybe with oak fences, and let's change these two up here as well. And it's not a functional ladder, but I don't think that I need it to be functional. I just wanted it to look cute. And I think what we have here is a decent use of the space so far. We can definitely add more detail later on, but I'm not too sure what I would want to add other than maybe putting some books in the chiseled bookcases. Over here, where we previously had our enchantment table, I kind of want to put it back where it was. So I'm going to light this up here and fill this roof in. Maybe put one more torch just in case. And I want to section off this room with some walls. So we're going to put some barrels down with some stripped spruce pillars. And just continue the same pattern of the wall that we have for the exterior with some stripped regular oak and oak planks. Oh, a wandering trader. I know you are invisible, but what do you have for me? Nothing good. Nothing good at all. I'm so sorry to do this. I don't want to. I really do. Just close your eyes. Close your eyes. So let's put this enchantment table back here, and I think we can make one fit like this. We can place down an enchanting table, and hopefully I'm gonna have to get an item to see if that actually works at level 30. So let's go ahead and test that really quickly. And yeah, it does give us level 30. So now we have a little enchanting table just in case we ever want to enchant something when we're away from the skeleton farm. And we don't really have any candles yet, but we can add sea pickles now. So I'm going to add a couple of those. So it is actually the next day, and I meant to record placing the rest of these things, and I didn't even press record, but I decorated it. We put some hanging glowberries, a little bookshelf over here. I'll probably stick some enchanted books in here once I get some of those. And this enchantment table works to level 30, and the only thing we're missing is I want a brewing stand right here. And to clutter up the rest of the open space with some candles and amethyst clusters. I can't believe I didn't record placing that. Since that was a little bit of a flop, I'm going to repeat this room, but I'm going to do it on the other side, and we're going to put a bedroom in here. So this area is actually a good bit smaller and doesn't have a window, so we're going to have to work with what we have. And now we have a functional and cute bedroom. Hopefully it looks all right. I'm not 100% about it, but I think we cluttered it up enough. And I don't know, I think I'm happy with it. I probably won't be using this very much, but it's nice to have it decorated. I also would really like to put something on the outside of the house today, and I think this spot would be a perfect spot for a little garden. Now, my goal for this area isn't for it to be completely functional. I did add some water under here as well, but I want to scatter a couple of random crops. We can put some of everything, get some melons in here, and pumpkins. And we can add some glowing jack-o'-lanterns for some light. I'm also going to texture up this area with some coarse dirt. I think it would also look nice if we took some of this packed mud, not too much, just a little bit to sprinkle around too. And I think if we put a little bit of path blocks to kind of show where the walking path would be, I think that would help tie together the garden just a little bit more. We can also clutter this area up with grass, some of our leaf litter, and I also want to add some of these cherry petals and wildflowers. And lastly, I'd like to add bunches of these tall flowers just on the other side down here away from the crops. And this way, it also looks like we have some flowers that we tend to. I know this area is purely decorative, but I'm really enjoying it, and I think we can add just one more thing right about here. And this simple little scarecrow can help look over our crops. I would like to add some more light without actually placing any lanterns, so maybe we can hide some torches under some moss carpet. And now our little garden is looking super cute, especially at nighttime. And I'm thinking maybe we can thicken up the crops here and add way more than we originally planned to, because it's looking a bit bare and a little odd. And now I think this is looking a lot better than it was before. I also want to add hay bales quickly to some of the empty spots that we have. And I think this is looking good. It's a bit messy and it's not functional, but hopefully it will add a little bit of life to the outside of our base here. We're going to need to decorate like this more all around the world, but we don't have time for all of that in one day. But I think for now, starting off with one little cozy garden in here should be good. Now that we have all of our decorating done for the day, the next thing that we're going to do is clear out some space for our barn. And we might have to do a good bit of terraforming, but I'm thinking over here would be a nice area. But first, we have to clear out all of these trees. Now that we've gotten a decent amount of area cleared out, I want to start trying to mark out where I actually want this to be. Let's take down just a little bit of this dirt and grass. And I honestly think it might be best to take all of this down one more. I am going to cover up this hole. And this terraforming definitely doesn't need to be perfect. We are going to do something with this little hill later, but I'm not 100% sure. So I think we're going to leave that for now, since we have a decent amount of space to at least get started. Now, even though we still have a ways to go with the terraforming, I think I want the center of the build to start around here. So maybe if I place the front entrance part, we can get a better idea of what else we're going to need to terraform. So if we treat this block as the middle block for the build, I think we can go ahead and go out maybe 8 in each direction to give us a wide enough barn. Let's place these down and see how it looks. And I'm thinking for the base structure, this is going to work. We do want to have additional shorter parts on each side, so we have plenty of space for that. And we definitely are going to have to terraform this side of this little hill. So I'm going to bring these up by about 11. Now we can bring these back with a 5-block gap in between each and go about 5 times in this direction. And we're definitely going to have to bring this hill back just a couple of blocks so that we can place this last pillar where it needs to go, which should be right about on this block here. I will be taking all of this coal that we discovered really quick. And I think if we work our way back about 3 more blocks, we should have plenty of room for our barn. All right, let's get this very last pillar in here. And we need to push this back over here too, so I'm going to clear out a couple more trees. While we wait for the rest of these leaves to decay, I'm going to work out what I want the sides of the building to look on this side first, and then worry about terraforming that side. Now that we have most of the materials on me that I want to use, I'm going to start placing some more pillars, but I want this section to extend out a little bit less than what we have already, so maybe some 3-block gaps, and it's going to be a lot shorter too, so I think we can bring these pillars up by maybe 6. Let's actually scratch that and bring them up by about 5. And if we repeat this on the other side, we actually won't have too much terraforming to do. That leaves us with just a little bit of terraforming on each side. Now we can go ahead and just follow these pillars all the way back to this last one here and put the same one on the back side in the middle. And I'm just gonna bring this terraforming out just a little bit temporarily and place the exact same pillars on this side too. And once we finish wrapping the rest of these logs around the build in between all of the pillars, this should finally start to look like an actual build. Let's bring this last pillar at the very top up by just one more block so we get an even 5 block spacing. Now that we have these very basic bones laid out, I'm gonna grab some dark oak wood and start working on the trim of the roof. I'd like to try to get this roof as rounded as possible. I think that something like this will look nice. So we can repeat this on the other side. I'm not sure how detailed I want this roof to be yet, so I'm just going to bring these stairs straight across against the pillars. And now we just need to figure out what we're going to do for these little side sections and its roof. And I think a nice slant in the roof with slabs will work nicely. Excuse me. Get out of here. Thank you. Goodbye. Alright, no more distractions. We are working on getting this roof finished. I think that this build is finally starting to look like something, but this middle section here, we're gonna have to split into smaller sections because it might be a little difficult to decorate as is. And I'm thinking that this is already looking better. So let's go ahead and grab some materials to finish the roof really quick. And I think at the top, I want to fill this in with a mixture of mud bricks, and some jungle planks. I'm really liking how this roof texturing is looking, but I'm not too sure how we're going to decorate it. For now, I think we're going to move on to other parts of the build and come back to it. Oh my goodness. I already killed 2 of these guys. There is so many of them. We can be friends, but you can't stay here. We actually got a crossbow too. I don't think I have one of those yet. I will be stuffing that in a chest and saving it for later. I'm thinking that the basing of the structure could use a little bit more stability, so we can go ahead and add some stairs around the pillars. I will put some stairs on the inside too, because this is going to be where the wall is on the inner block. And I'm learning that I need to bring this terraforming out again. I'm trying to avoid doing that until it's absolutely necessary. Also, our tower is looking very nice from the mining outpost. I really love this shade that it's oxidized to. I'm thinking we might have to wax it to keep it like that. I'm thinking that if we put some fence gates on the inside with some walls in between the pillars, that this half of the build, this little extension, can be a space for all of our animals. The only problem with this is that it does split up a little bit unevenly, so we can have 2 sections here for some animals, 1 section here for maybe sheep that we don't need as many of, and then we can put pigs and cows on either side. I could make the whole building just 1 section longer, but I don't really feel like doing that, so I think this is going to be just fine. And just to line this up, we can bring this pillar out by 1 here, and that way this lines up a lot more evenly. I'm thinking on this side, we can wrap some oak wood all the way around here. And I think this gives us just enough to get some decorated windows in here. And I'm thinking in the middle we can actually put a doorway on the side of the barn too, and maybe we can put some chickens or crops or something over on this side of the barn. I think at the top where this little roof is peeking out, we can just clean this up with some stripped spruce wood. And it's getting pretty dark under this build now, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly light it up with some torches. For these walls, I'm going to come in with some of the stripped oak logs just for a little bit of texture. And I'm going to bring this oak wood up by 1 more block as well, just so that it will line up nicely with the rest of the walls on the inside. And I'd like to add just a little bit more depth to this wall and replace the lower and upper block of the window with some stairs. And we're going to add some spruce stairs to these little sections just to finish rounding them off. And the opposite side doesn't have any walls, but I would like to round off those sections as well. I think I see pillagers more often than I see any other mob in this game. This is getting a little bit ridiculous. Apparently these guys didn't even have a captain among them. That's kind of interesting. I think I'd like to finish up this upper part of the roof here with moss. And we should be able to add lots of nice flowers and greenery up here too to make it look more interesting. And we almost have enough moss, so I'm going to grab some more so we can quickly finish that up. And I didn't want to spend too long getting some, so I literally just got a tiny bit more, just enough to finish, and that should be good for now. I'm thinking if we honestly just bone meal straight on top of the moss, it could help make this look a lot better. And this is looking good, but I'd like to come back in with some other flowers and some lighting. And I think we can add a good bit of color just by sprinkling in some of these lilacs and peonies. I don't really know how I don't have rose bushes yet. I just haven't picked any up. I haven't found any, I don't think. And I'm going to bring in even more pink with some cherry petals. And we can take everything one step further by adding some firefly bushes sprinkled around for some nice ambience. And I don't think any mobs will spawn on the moss. I think that's right. I'm not too sure, but hopefully this will be enough. And it is a very good thing we have this skeleton spawner now so that we have an infinite amount of bones for bone meal. We're definitely gonna have to make a moss farm soon, because collecting that stuff by hand is a pain. And I think these roofs down here are already adding so very much to the build. I think I want to try to come in with some more of these deep slate brick walls and fences just against the trim of the roof to kind of look like it's acting to contain some of the moss. And it actually spaces out pretty perfectly, and I think I like that. I'm really enjoying how this looks, but I think I'm gonna like the way that the deep slate tiles blend in a little bit better, so we're gonna switch all of these out. I think I'm going to repeat this design on the roof all the way up here too, just to add a little bit of interest. I'd like to continue these all the way up the roof, but it's looking like we're going to have a perfect space to be able to put a little tower up here on this build in the very center. And I think I just want to put it in as a 5-block wide square. And I'm thinking just bringing it up by 9 blocks should be perfect. And I think the roof of this build is coming along very nicely. I really like all of the lanterns and this top little tower that we've decorated really quickly. But I would like to bring in a little bit more of that pink color into the build. And I'm thinking on all of these posts that don't have lanterns on them, we can add a little flower pot with a cherry blossom. Now this is definitely a very decorated roof already, but I want to come across the trim at the bottom and just add some buttons all the way across. Now there definitely won't be anything spawning on top of this roof anymore. And I think for the finishing touches, we can put some plain fences in where the windows should go. And I know that this build is already looking a lot more decorated than some of my other builds, but I think we're going to go back to these builds here and add a little bit more to the roof. And we need to add some lighting to the skeleton spawner's roof off in the distance as well. And I almost forgot to add a little bit of decor and lighting to the top of the roof up here too. We can also jump up here and add a quick little flag. And I think that we can finally call the roof of this place completely done, and we can move on to the walls. One thing I am trying to do is experiment a lot with new decorations, and I'm thinking that this looks good. I can't tell if it's too much, but I like how it looks, and I think we just need to get the rest of the walls in to know for sure if we really like how it's looking. I might have to take some of these decorations down or change them. I'm not too sure how I'm feeling about it. I think it's cute, but I don't know. I think we're just gonna run with it and see how it goes. I've also been trying to stay very busy smelting up some of our iron that we needed and all of these bricks because we're going to be using these as the regular walls. See if we can grab our buckets here. And I'm so very happy that we have this lava set up here now. I think it gives me just enough for what I need. I might need to expand in the future, but for now we have all of the fuel we could ever ask for. The only other thing that I'd like to get is to get some villagers soon because that is another way to get some bricks really easily, and hopefully we won't have to be smelting these forever. I think we're finally in a good place with the amount of bricks that we have, so I'm just gonna come in and start decorating these walls with a little bit of texture. And hopefully this is gonna look nice. And I think this will give us a nice reddish pink color that we're looking for. Hopefully it's not too overwhelming, but let's just get the rest of it placed in and then see how we feel about it. Also, please don't mind my slight scratchiness today. I actually have gotten sick about halfway through this recording, so hopefully it doesn't sound too disgusting and scratchy. And I'm really liking the color of this, but I think for the inside of the roof, we're going to close it up with some stripped spruce logs at the top. We've got a lot of textures going on, so I think it would be nice to break this section up with just a little bit of plain spruce. I've learned that you can never go wrong with spruce wood and dark oak. It always tends to tie pretty much any color palette together. And of course, we can't forget to come in with our little trim that we add on all of our roofs. And the last thing that this roof needs up here is one of our fancy little windows right in the direct center. And I think since this roof is actually so wide, we can put more little windows just with fences on the corners. And this is already looking very good, I think. I think if we move this window just a little bit, we might be able to fit some lighting fixtures in here. I think I'd like to bring in some deep slate tile walls into a fence. And I think we can just go straight into a lantern. And I'm not 100% sure about these little side windows. I think we might have to move them back down one block. And I think if we do that, that's gonna look better. I'm not too crazy about these. I might not even keep them, but let's see if we can make them work. I think what I'm gonna do is leave this for now and get to work on the rest of the walls and come back with a fresh set of eyes because I can't get this to look right. Alright, we've copied the texturing on the other half of the build back here against the mountain. And I'm thinking that we could take this a little bit differently on the inside, and maybe we can just keep this open with some more fences. Now that we have this texturing copied on this side of the build to match what we have over here, I think what I want to do for the inside here is just fill all of this in. Maybe with fences, they don't really attach. Hang on a second. I'm also trying to work out how the inside of the build is going to look in here where the animal pens are. And I think we can just put some of these fences with some carpet on top. And that should give us some fairly easy access inside the animal pens. We won't have to worry about letting them free all over the barn. And I think I want to take this and break it off into sections. We can have this big part open in the middle, and then we can have walls on either side. And I'm thinking that I actually want to have a space for some chickens on the inside. So let's block this section off with some more fences. And I think that we can turn this into a little entrance and exit way so that the chickens can have some outdoor space out here too. And we'll have to work out what that's going to look like. I think if we trade out this stair for a stripped spruce log with a slab on top, we should be able to come in with fences and create just a small dome of space for some chickens. And then it can wrap all the way around and end back over here. We are going to need to bring this terraforming out a good bit. So let's try and figure out a little section for these chickens. Not too crazy. Thinking just a little bit of space for these chickens out here in the sunshine would look really nice. It would also help to break up the uniformness of this wall. It makes it look a little bit different, a little interesting. And I actually don't have any chickens at all, so we're gonna have to get some of those, along with a couple of different animals, but we should be able to fit all animals in this barn. It's big enough, I don't see why we couldn't. We can have some storage over here, or maybe a little workstation or something to store some things to breed the animals, and maybe a wall with some stuff to cook all of our food. We are going to need to texture this just a little bit, so let's get that textured up. I do want to come up here really quickly because I think we will have more than enough room for a second floor. So let's work out some spacing for this. Did place in some pillars just to line up with the shaping of the foundation, and I want to come in with the color that we used on our roof at the top. So we can just texture this a little bit with some mud bricks, and jungle planks again. And I have no idea how I'm completely out of torches. Oh my goodness. Is that seriously what I think it is? There are so many pillagers every day. Give me your stuff, thank you. I want that bottle that you have for me. I have so many of these bottles. I honestly don't know why we haven't done this yet, but I think I'm gonna need to make a raid farm soon. I don't even need to make an ominous bottle farm because I have so many of them. This barrel is filling up pretty fast with all of these ominous bottles, so we probably need to put these to some good use. Oh gosh, I have another one in this chest too. My chest monster is getting pretty bad at this point, but that's a problem for future me when we're done with this build and not me right now. Now that we have this floor put in, I want to come around to the outside of the build and work on putting in this wall here. And I'm not sure what we're going to do with this space, but I'd like to fill it in anyways. And then we can figure out how we're going to decorate it after we have it. I think for this little opening here, we can just fill this in with some stripped spruce logs. I don't have any more moss, and we won't even really be able to see this from the ground, so I think this will work out just fine. And I honestly think on the inside here, we could just do the exact same thing with stripped spruce logs. And I think I do want to see this moss from the inside, so we can just add some more supportive pillars reaching out to this little block here of moss. And I think it'll be pretty easy to just clean up the rest of it with some stairs. And I think we can take this just a little bit further and add some trapdoors as a little trim around the logs. And I think that looks good. I think this section over here is ready for some lighting and some decorative blocks. So we can go ahead and move on to the other structural parts of the build. And if we sneak under here, we can see all of the trim from down here. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be the biggest deal in the world. I think I want to add some fences and some walls in there to just kind of seal it up. I don't think this will be something that we're looking at very often, but I would like to just kind of finish it off so it doesn't look like it's still under construction. And this definitely doesn't look perfect. I think I might be able to make it look a little bit better, but I think if we just put some of these trapdoors here, not on this one actually. I think this side might need a little more support than the other side, so we can just put trapdoors on one side. And I think we can just place the lantern straight onto the log. And I might actually see how this would look if we brought this whole thing up by a second block so no mobs can come in from the outside. And I don't think that that affects the idea of what we have going on the outside too much. I might honestly rework this whole thing and try to see if we can just get some animal pens that come out in a dome on the side so that these animals also have some free roaming space. So we're gonna put this little part on the back burner for now, and we will come back to that. I do think that this spot right here will be a good spot to place in a staircase. Hopefully this isn't too much of an eyesore, but let's see if we can put a little staircase out of slabs all the way up. And I actually think I want to come back in with the dark oak instead of the spruce wood. I can't get this to look good, so I'm just going to tear the whole thing down and let's try something a little bit different. I think what we're going to try next is just a simple little staircase out of these dark oak stairs all the way up, just straight up next to the front entranceway. And I think this will actually give us some space to make it look a lot better, and hopefully it won't look like so much of a headache. Hopefully that doesn't feel too crowded going up and down the stairs, and I think that gives us just enough room to feel comfortable. I would like to space some things out on the inside of the barn here, and honestly, this back half, I don't think we're gonna need it. It might be nice to have a little open area that we can see down to the bottom floor out of. And I think we can come in with more of these walls and just place in some fences, which I have to grab some more of those. And we can place some lanterns on top of these walls to make sure that they keep their center post, and I think that's gonna look good. And I think I'd like to get some terraforming done on this side because I'm not super crazy about this for the animal pens. I kind of want them to have a little bit more space than these small confined pens. So I will be right back with you guys as soon as I do just a little bit of touch up to this dirt here. This project is very quickly turning into one of my favorite builds in our base area so far, and I really don't want to leave it in a state that I'm not completely satisfied with. I think we are finally getting a decent space to work with over here. This is definitely still open at the bottom, but I'm running out of dirt, and I think what I want to do to this cliff here is to push the whole thing back by maybe 3 more blocks so that I have a little more space back here. And this cliff is going to have to be something that we will decorate in another episode. Maybe I could dedicate maybe a long play to it. I've never made a long play, but I think it would be nice to do something like that. So we might do that very soon. I really should have moved the build just a little bit further in this direction, but I'm kind of in too deep to do that now. So we're just going to cut this back just a little bit, and there is lots of terrain up here, so I'm sure we can work with what we have up here later on. All right, we finally got this pushed back, and I think that up here we can definitely clean this up and decorate this cliff face to make this look really cute. And then we can put another build up here. I'm not sure what could go up here, but I'm sure we'll figure something out. And I think what I want to do instead is repeat what we did on the chicken pen and then bring some of these animals out and around the build instead of just inside here. And let's do the same thing on this side with this and bring it out and around a little bit. It does kind of touch up against here for a while, but I think maybe we could just leave it open once we have the cliff face here decorated and we're sure where we want it to go. And I think a non-uniform shape actually might look nice with this, so let's divide up these sections as well. I'm just gonna bring these straight back. for the time being. I'm not too sure what else we could do other than that. And I'm actually thinking that I really don't like this middle section here. I think we might have to put our sheep somewhere else. I know we're going to want a wool farm, so maybe we don't need to include sheep in here. I do want to dig out some spaces for some ponds, just little ones. I think actually if we ditch the idea of a plain and straight fence, we could be able to section off two different animals in here. And it's not exactly perfect, but I think this is better than throwing everything in the same place. We can adjust this a little bit to make it look like it fits just a little bit better. I always struggle with fence placement because I like uniform in what I build, but I hate when fences look too uniform. I don't like things to be perfectly square. I think it looks really boring that way, so we're gonna try to make it look a little bit crazy. And we really quickly need to change out the stone here for some grass. And I'd also like to grab some coarse dirt, some gravel, maybe some cobblestone, just some texturing blocks for the ground. Now that we have some of these blocks, we can come and texture up these tiny little ponds and make them nice and dirty looking. And I think these little ponds in here are going to look just right for these pigs, but I want to take this a little step further and put some patches of coarse dirt and mud. Oh my god, I heard that. Where is it? Okay. Why are baby zombies terrifying? Oh my god. That literally made my heartbeat increase by like 500%. I am brave. I am strong. I am strong and I am brave. Oh god. Oh no. I'm not. 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 I'm not brave. I'm not brave. Oh my goodness. I don't think I'll ever get over how scary baby zombies are. I feel like when I played this game when I was a little kid, they terrified me so bad too, and I just never got over it. I'd like to sprinkle around some random path blocks in here now that we have this decently textured. Really? How did I randomly do that? Okay, whatever. And I'd like to go around in these little mud spots and kind of replace some of it with just a little bit of packed mud. I cannot do anything in peace. Leave me alone! 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 Now that we went ahead and textured up the other pen, I'm going to remove all of the torches and I'm going to try my very best to light this up with some torches covered by some moss carpet. I usually like to put glowstone under these moss carpets, but for now I think the torches will work just fine. You can also just add some regular grass in here. I will get rid of all the tall grass, but let's just bone meal this up really quickly. I think we can honestly even leave all of these leaf litter clumps that we have in here. It doesn't really take away too much from the decoration, and it's more of a pain to pick up than to just leave alone, so I think we're gonna leave it. Oh my goodness, that's an Enderman on the staircase. That actually scared me so bad. Oh no. Where did he go? I really should not have hit him at night because he has completely disappeared. And it's also raining, so maybe he died. Oh. Hello, wandering trader. Oh my god. That scared me so bad. I hit him like 3 times with my sword. Oh, I'm so scared. Okay, you guys have got to go. I'm so sorry, but you are now in my way. I think this Enderman is literally gonna torment me for the rest of my days. I should not have tried to kill it. I think I'm gonna come in here and change up some of this floor. We can put some lanterns on these beams along with our trapdoors that we forgot earlier. And that's definitely a good start to some of the lighting that we are going to need, but I don't think it's going to light up everything, so we'll have to add more as we're decorating. I think I'd like to come in with a simple spruce plank floor. And I'd like to have this grass and this dirt creeping into the planks on the inside of the build, just so that it's not so harsh of a transition between regular floor and the outside area. But we have quite a lot of texturing going on with the ceiling here and the walls and even this outside area. I kind of want to simplify this floor just a little bit in here. Now we have a lot of space to work with in this barn and we still have a long ways to go. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna put on this floor yet, but that's gonna be a future problem because right now my main concern is the front of the build is looking really boring and we need to fix that. I'm gonna add some nice lanterns in between these little 3-block sections. And I'm not sure what to do with this doorway. I think I'm going to leave it open like this for now until I figure that out. But we can also place a little lantern here. I think I want to continue with some trapdoors and stairs up here. And maybe instead of a lantern, we can put a fenced-in window. And I'd like to switch this out here for a big opening. I think something like this would look good if we can round it off with some stairs. And I think once we get the trims worked in, this is gonna look really nice. Are you serious? I see even more pillagers appear on my mini-map. I'm not even over-exaggerating when I say it's been like 10 minutes since we saw the last ones, and there's more already. Is this normal to see this many pillagers? Uh-oh, we're out of arrows. That's not good. I guess I'll just kill them with my sword. That's fine. And our base is creeping really close to this big open area. We're gonna have to put something over here eventually. And I'm really liking the way that the roof of our barn looks. It looks so pretty from down here. Let's go ahead and get back to some of these details in here. Adding a nice lantern, and I would like to grab my stone cutter so we can put some stairs in. And I think just adding those stairs is making this look a lot better already. I do want to add just a little bit more detail through here. And I think if we bring in some of these walls connected by fences, and I'm not sure what kind of structural benefit this really brings, but I think it does help bring in some of the darker colors to the build. And I think for this doorway here, we can just leave this open and add some fence gates. And I think this build has finally gotten plenty of detail on the front. Let's go ahead up here and add a little bit more of these windows with fences on every section. I want to round off just the tops of these with some stairs and trapdoors with a little lantern in the front. Now, I didn't want to spend too much time on the back of the build here. I just kind of wanted to leave it very simple so that we can move on because we're not going to really be back here very much. It is still good to have it decorated. Okay, and now we can say that we are finally done with all of the exterior decoration for the build. Now we just have to bring all of our animals into their brand new homes and start decorating. Alright, anyone that follows me and makes it to the barn gets to live. Oh, those guys back there are toast. We're going to a beautiful place far away. Right this way, please. And welcome to your new home. You really like this place, huh? Yeah, you saw that, huh? You're next. Right this way, please. Oh my goodness, that is a straight line. Alright, congratulations everybody. You made the cut. You've now been promoted. Congratulations. I hope you have a long and happy life. I accidentally connected all the pigs to this pig, and now I'm holding this pig? I didn't even know you could do that. Wait, how do I unhook them from this guy? Okay, I think I figured it out. Okay, that was a little bit difficult. I also want to quickly mention that 1.21.11 has been out for maybe 2.5 weeks now, and I finally updated all of my mods. Actually, I might be lying. This update might have come out before I started this series, but not all of the mods were updated. But I checked today after not checking for about 2 weeks, and they're all updated. So we are now on the newest version of Minecraft. I'm not the best at following Minecraft news. I usually don't play long enough to actually ever have to update my world. But here we are on one of the longest running survival worlds I think I've ever played on in hardcore. I'm also just now noticing that we forgot to get some chickens. I can't believe we forgot chickens. We have to go get some right now. Yes, here are the chickens. I will also take these eggs. Come here, chickens. All of you, come. Also, when I used to play this, I don't remember the lead making a noise when it snapped, and now it does, like very clearly. Like I distinctly hear that. So is that a new feature? I think that might be new. Anyways, I really like that I can hear that now. Let's get you all locked up in here. Hopefully these little guys like their new home. And this little guy. I have made the slightest change to this little table thing that I do with the crafting table, and I think putting a sign on the front kind of helps conceal the rest of it in. I really like how that looks. And I think in this section, I would like to bring up some barrels. You can also put a little table in the corner here, and I'd like to put a flower pot with one of these nice lilies. I think some sea pickles would look good up here out of the way. We can put some item frames on these barrels, and they can hold some mob items, like our leather and our steak. And I think if we move this crafting table, we can actually use this section for some smokers. I don't think we necessarily need these smokers in place because we do have fire aspect, so all of our food should turn to cooked food. But I'm thinking that we could decorate this up in some way, and I'm not too sure how to do that. These trapdoors are not working the way that I want them to. Maybe we'll have to use something else. But for now, we can put some trapdoors here and add some additional storage with barrels. We can put some coal over here and a barrel for coal storage. And I want to see how this will look if we switch this out for walls. And that might help us a little bit. I'm not sure about these being stairs. And I don't think that that looks too terrible. In this flower pot here, we can put a little azalea bush, and I think this is gonna look alright. I don't know if my stone cutter is gonna stay here. I kind of want to keep it there. It looks very kitchen-y, so I think this will work for now. I think some nice paintings on this wall will help make it not feel as bland. And I think in this section here, we can place some campfires with some food and then extinguish them. Just for some added decoration. Now, I think this section back here is looking very warm and cozy. I love how this turned out. We're going to need a spot for the chicken's meat and the pig's meat, and I only have one empty barrel, so I'll just go ahead and add another one up here. And I think to tie this final section off, we can put just a little bit of a dirty, broken moss carpet. I love decorating little cozy spaces like this. This feels so nice to stand in. It's so cluttered and happy and perfect. Even though we don't have a whole lot going for us decor-wise in the rest of the build so far, let's go ahead and add some clumps of hay around. And I'm just going to put a few of these in different random places. And I know on this bottom floor, I want to add a final work section over here by this little hay bale for all of the crops that the animals are going to be eating. And I don't think all of my crops are going to be stored in here, but I do want to store most of them for the time being. And I definitely don't have a surplus of any other crop besides wheat, so we're gonna have to plant some fields today. I think what we have going down here in this little section is okay for now. I'm not great at interior decorating. I kind of repeat the same little tables with working blocks and then lots of storage, but hopefully we can figure out something else to put here that would look nice. I do want to move upstairs now and do something with this section, or at least clean up the roof, and then we can figure out what we want to do with this area at a later time. I think I'd like to add some decorative trim to some of the parts of the roof, and this actually will line up perfectly. Now that this is finally looking nice, I want to come up to the middle section and add a few more walls in so we can get some hanging lights going. We can add some fences underneath. After these fences, I'd like to add a chain into a lantern. Thinking for a small bit of detail, we can add some fences, and I want to add some sort of platform. And I think that these platforms can be a little bit different in height, but we can add some barrels for some storage, mixing that with some composters and even some barrels of hay. And I think if we add just a couple of these, that it'll help the ceiling feel a little bit less empty. Now it kind of looks like up here has a little bit of purpose. And this space is really large, so it is a little bit difficult to figure out exactly how to fill all of it in. I do think what we have now is going well for us, though. We have a cozy little space over here and just a little bit of clutter here. And I think something that I'm going to start doing from here on out is try to incorporate some beds into all of my builds, because I really dislike having to run all the way across my base area to sleep if it starts getting scary at night. So I think this cozy space up here would be perfect to create a little hangout area. And I'm thinking we should be able to go ahead and make just a little seating area in the corner here out of some beds. Alright, this area is looking way better with some clutter. I don't really have a huge purpose for this area, but we do have some storage here if I decide I need more storage in the barn area. Now, the very last thing I want to do for this build is to clutter up this space with some glowberries. I think we're just going to let them grow naturally for a while until they start to feel like a nuisance, and then we can shear them at a later time. I don't think that they grow particularly fast, so I think if we just leave them be and let them grow however they want to, then we can get a really nice effect from that. And now that these are growing in and starting to light up a little bit more, I think we have just the right effect that we were going for. For the final effect, I think if we sprinkle around just a couple of spore blossoms, then we will be completely finished with this build. And I think we can finally call this interior done and decorated. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I haven't been completely decorating all of the interiors every time I build, and I think I need to because this feels very rewarding. Our animals have a comfortable and happy home to live in, and we have the cutest barn to visit anytime we need food. I'm especially loving our little kitchen area with these smokers, and the fireplaces underneath added such a nice touch. And we have some overflow storage and places to sleep at night, and a completely decorated exterior. We do need to wrap up a little bit of terraforming. I do want to see if we can use these 2 bones to get our first dog. Oh my goodness, 2 exactly. And this can be our little barn dog. But I think he could have a wonderful home in this lovely decorated barn. And we're gonna have to find a name for him. Or her. I have no idea, honestly. I haven't decided yet. But before we wrap up this video, I'm definitely going to clean up this terrain. So I've brought this terraforming out a good few layers, but this kind of goes down into a really big dip here, and I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. And this is the last little bit of dirt that we have, so I think we can just bring this straight down and close it off for now. We will be building in this area. It's just a matter of time, but I don't think I have time to do any more terraforming today. And we have this whole area here that we need to terraform and do something with as well. So let me know if you guys actually want to see any terraforming, maybe on a live stream or even a long play. Or if you guys think that it's something that I should just do off camera. I'm not really sure how to go about that because terraforming is a very big part of Minecraft, but it also can be pretty boring, so I'm not sure how much of that to include in any of the videos. I do think since I have been getting sick though, I might record and upload a long play for the next episode where we do some gentle decorating and base cleanup, just because there are some pathways and terraforming and decorations that I'd like to get done that we haven't really had time for yet. So definitely let me know if you think that would be something that you're interested in. I absolutely love what we did today with our barn. It looks so good. And I think the only thing that we have to do now is to get all of this chest monster cleaned up. But thank you guys so very much for watching. I had a ton of fun today making this big barn. I don't think I've ever made a barn on this scale before, and I absolutely love it. I hope you all have a very wonderful and blessed day, and I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you so much again for watching. Bye-bye!